It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a dream. Like, everything was perfect. I should have been happy, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
It's like I was living someone else's life.
If your inner world and your outer world are not matching, that's really difficult.
My negative preconception of what trans was, I'll be really real right now, is that I thought it was a masculine-looking woman in a wig. Because that's what society had taught me it was to be trans. I woke up one morning and I was like, I'm trans. This is who I am. I have to transition.
Really? So
Yeah.
it was like
A switch.
When someone says they dropped that bomb on you, like she did that, she was like,
full mic drop.
I think,
Yeah.
babe, I think I'm trans.
So I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to transition. And expensive.
There's always been this running mean average of femininity.
Yes.
So that's been clearly something I've been attracted to. For me and our relationship, because of that femininity, because that has never changed, whether she was male or female, her personality has never changed.
Yes.
That's made the transition easier. Even though I'm accepting of her being trans, even though I'm friends are accepting, obviously,
Of course.
whatnot, it was how's the world going to now accept it?
So welcome to Sex Tales, the podcast where we have honest, open and nuanced conversations about sex, relationships, identity and everything in between. Today's episode is an important one, and one I think many people will connect with, especially as more of these conversations, thankfully, are being had in the world that we're living in today. We're talking about love through transition. And I'm joined by Alexis and Liam Blake, who have shared a lot of their story online and really focusing on how love and identity and everything that kind of comes with that, both publicly and privately. So today we'll be in sort of really explaining what happens in a relationship when one person transitions. And we're going to be including kind of identity and gender, attraction and sexuality, change. And sometimes that means sort of about grief and the overlap between shame, control, and kind of body image. So let's really get into it.
Thank you.
I'm so pleased to have you both here.
We're so pleased to be here.
We love you. You're fab. You're
She's
fab.
a
You're
vibe.
fab. You
She's
are
a
such a
vibe.
vibe. When we had the welcome call, honestly, like the energy you pour into the world is beautiful. So thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I've been kind of following you for a little while. You're both so inspirational. You've got such amazing stuff to say.
Thank you.
So I suppose let's just start from the beginning.
Okay, yeah. Let's do
just
it.
tell me a little bit about your journey. I mean, again, you've talked a lot about it, but just for the listeners, like how you met, what your story is, and what your kind of message is, when you're, I suppose, thinking about communicating online. Like, what are you wanting to get out there fundamentally? So a lot of questions there, so go.
Okay. We met 6 years ago this year.
Yep.
We've been married almost a year. When we met, we were two men and I transitioned during that time. He supported me along the way. Very lucky and grateful. I know that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
And we're each other's best friends and rocks. I think, I don't know, we've got a really healthy, good relationship. Like, we have our moments, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I just want to, But,
Same.
but generally, like, we both have our good bits and our bad bits and our flaws, and we've supported each other. We met on a dating app, believe it or not.
Yeah, it was Hinge. So the hook to Hinge is the app that's made to be deleted because they want you to. They want you to find someone, and sure enough, we both swiped on each other's profile. But it was during COVID, so obviously the times were quite, a lot of things were restricted. So you couldn't go to work.
I was working from home, and it just was right place, right time. In my old life, I was a professional male dancer, so I was traveling around a lot, living in London, cruise ships, all that sort of thing.
I was working in a gym, and I'd been made furloughed. So I'd been
it's literally because of he was furloughed for COVID. I was stranded in the UK because of COVID, because we couldn't travel anywhere. I couldn't work, so I ended up getting a job in the UK, and my mum happened to live an hour away from him. Yeah, it was just all chance and coincidence that worked out for the best.
Serendipity.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's a big word. I've not heard that one before. Serendipity. I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah. So what was it that attracted you to each other kind of originally? You know, what was, I know. So, come on.
Like it came up on my profile. I need to say this first. He came up on my profile. This stunning, beautiful man covered in tattoos, looked a bit like a bad boy. And I was like, that is the man for me. I would like to meet him.
Did you feel that kind of instantaneous?
Yeah, but I thought it was never going to happen because I really thought look at him, that's no way.
Really?
So I swiped whichever way you have to swipe in the good way, and we started chatting, and then he ghosted me for 3 days. And then we met up, and I made sure I locked him in as soon as I could.
So she always tells people that I ghosted her.
You did. You absolutely did. 3 days.
She had a couple of at the time, obviously, a couple of photos on the profile, and they were but not a lot going on there because with a profile you can't put the whole thing on there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until because I was busy, there was a lot going on. I wasn't ghosting you. So I was just keeping my options open. And it wasn't until
who are these options?
You'll never know. It wasn't until I went onto Instagram and then I started obviously having to really flick through her profile, obviously at the time, his profile. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the personality was coming through then. And I could see more of it. And then I was like, oh, okay. We're onto something here. And then obviously things got a bit more, picked up on, I suppose. And then, we met. What did we do? We did a meal first, drinks first.
And I wore the tightest pants to show off my booty that I could. And it worked. It absolutely worked. Do you know what I loved though? On my Instagram, I was always nervous to give out my Instagram as a gay man because I was very effeminate. I was never a masculine gay man. That was never my destiny. So I would wear makeup and eyeshadow and nails and crop tops and live my feminine life. So when I gave out the Instagram to people, potential love interests, and they saw that, it turned a lot of men off.
Yeah.
He loved the femininity.
Yeah.
So that was really encouraging. I think that's how I felt comfortable enough eventually to come out as trans to him because, we'll get into that, I'm sure. But he liked the femininity. And
yeah, and you said that, didn't you? You said that when we had our conversation before as well. You've always been very feminine. Yeah. I suppose just on that, because we always talk about feminine and masculine. What is that for you? For you,
For me, it's a sense of being internal. It's not necessarily I've always only ever dated men. But I've always been attracted to more masculine men, and not that you're super masculine because you have your moments.
I can have my moments,
but
get a couple of vodkas down. I don't know.
You might be better to answer that because you're attracted to femininity more than specifics.
I think for me, it's more. It might even be more to do with the protection side of things because I've always liked to be the protector. And growing up in a mostly feminine environment, I've only really seen femininity as being comforting to me. It's always been something that's been safe for me. Whereas any demonstrations of strong domination or masculinity or a combination of the two, because masculinity is not bad, and domination is not bad. It's always about the context, but my experience of masculinity has never really been a positive one. So for me, femininity has always felt safe. And it's always felt empathy has always been seemingly...
You sound so intelligent right now. Sorry to cut you off.
I read a book before I came on. But no, it's always... I think that's for me. So for me, it's always been... I've always been the more dominating one and the more masculine, stronger one, but I've always liked to put a spin on it. Look, you can be a caring person and still demonstrate those things. But I don't find masculinity. Best way to answer this is whenever I've dated or potentially dated someone that's been more masculine than me or more dominating than me, I just switch off. When someone tries to take control of any situation, I'm like, maybe I'm a control freak.
But I'm in charge of our entire life.
Are you?
That's the ironic thing. Yeah, he loves
She lets me believe I'm in control.
But it's really me. I manage the house, the bills, everything. I do. Yeah.
I just show up.
100%. He just turns up and has a good time.
Does it? Oh, okay. And do those roles work for both of you?
We when we got married, we fell into stereotypical heterosexual roles, which I never thought we would. The classic housewife and husband.
I do all the cooking.
To be fair to him, he does. He does. But generally, like me being in charge, planning the trips, making sure we're on time, doing all of that stuff that women generally do.
Yeah.
But is that to do with gender roles, or is that more to do with the fact that I'm just riddled with ADHD?
That, 100% that.
It's probably a bit of A and a bit of B.
100% that, yeah.
If I was in charge of working the tube when we got here, we'd end up in Rome or something.
Yeah, we would 100%.
Really?
On Euro Express, what's it called? Eurotunnel.
Yeah, we would. It's terrible.
We're going to be at the Jubilee Station soon. Babe, we're under the sea.
Yeah.
So you're really kind of open online. I'm just interested about like what's your message? What is it that you're trying to get out? And also, you're a real, you've won some awards recently. You're a charity ambassador, so tell me about that. Like, what's important to you? What is it that the message that you want to get across and out?
Well, for me personally, I think we see a lot of negative content online around trans people.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of negative things online from politicians, from the media, about trans people. So I just want to be some positivity in whatever way that means, whatever context that means. Like sharing my life, being silly, being like without makeup on, looking real and natural and raw, and being a human being with my husband, like to make that realness, because I feel like a lot of people don't know a trans person in real life.
Yes.
So they only know what they see online. And if all of that is negativity, it's going to create a negative stereotype.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just trying to spread a bit of positivity.
Yeah.
I don't know what about you.
I'm the same. Learning of Alexis's, obviously, when she came out as being trans and stuff, I like to kind of show my side of the view of it, of what's it like to be with someone who does come out as transgender, and how do you navigate that? Because that was new for me. I had my own reservations about trans people before Alexis came out. I had my own stereotypes and my own feelings about certain things, because I didn't really understand it. Because I mean, if you don't know anyone that's that way, I suppose you're not going to sit there at home going on a deep dive about what it means.
Yeah.
So learning about obviously all the misgendering and all
dysphoria, surgeries, what transition entails. Like before I openly came out and started digging into transition, I know we're going off topic, sorry, but
it's fine.
My negative preconception of what trans was, I'll be really real right now, is that I thought it was a masculine looking woman in a wig. That's what I thought all trans women were, because that's what society had taught me it was to be trans. I didn't know there was hormone replacement therapy and these special surgeries that you can have and care and everything that you can do to alleviate that dysphoria. I just thought it'd be just putting on a dress and a wig. And I didn't know like the full depth of it until I opened my eyes and learned about it, which we have to teach ourselves a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Alexis's gender dysphoria, that was I could find parts of myself in that, because I have body dysmorphia, and obviously they're very similar but also different. And it was like the way she was feeling about certain aspects of her body, I could see myself feeling the same about my body. From when I was younger, I used to be really overweight and stuff. So it was a learning curve. Yeah, we found more in common than we did not in common when she came out.
It wasn't always easy though, don't get me wrong. Like there was a lot of bumps along the way, and when I'd have really bad gender dysphoria at the start, I couldn't even we'll go out with friends to the pub, and I couldn't even go. Do you remember the time I just couldn't physically get out the door because it was crippling, and like that, I can't imagine how hard that was to deal with. But then on the same side of that, Liam's had really bad anxiety in the past that I've supported him with. So not that it's like, I'll do this for you and you do this for me.
No, of course not.
Keeping a tally.
In any relationship, you have things that you both go through and you support each other where you can. And I'm not saying you have to support your partner if they come out as trans. Everyone's different, and you can speak more on that than me, because it's just, it worked for us, and it stuck around.
He has. It was interesting what you were just saying just then about, actually you had your own perceptions and ideas about what a trans person was. You hadn't, and Alexis did as well. What was your preconceived ideas?
So I think again, in society, on TV shows and stuff like that, a lot of the time it was always, and there was actually a person who lived quite close to me as a child, and they were known as the man in a wig and makeup.
Yeah.
And so like growing up and stuff, I saw it as more as a cross-dressing thing. I didn't know the depth of actually, what is gender dysphoria? How can you feel that way? And before obviously diving into the world of transness, shall we say, I thought that it was more just you want to do it because you know what I mean. Like I didn't realize it was there was so much depth to it, and that's what I learned during this like transition. Like we always say, like even though Alexis did the physical transitioning, we transitioned together as a couple because I was going through the change as well. Not me, but like.
Of course, absolutely. And I suppose that's why I reached out to you, because I think that's why it's so interesting as well and important to really talk about, that yes, of course, you're going through this monumental individual journey, Alexis, but we can't ignore also the fact that Liam's going through that with you, and that brings up a whole host of other things that obviously we'll delve into. Yeah. So can you you talked again when we had our call a bit, just about, I suppose, the moment for you, Alexis, that you're kind of thinking, I'm not again, gender,
there's something there that's different.
Like how long ago was that? Was that, some people talk about it was forever. Yeah. Some people talk, I always felt different. Yeah. Like I didn't quite get it. Some people talk about it's much later, that actually I understand that. And then also, when did you actually have the conversation with Liam?
Together.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, again, there. That's a whole...
No, you're fine. I'll try and whiz through it.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was always very girly growing up. I had rollers in my hair. There's pictures of me in the 90s with rollers in my hair with Barbie dolls in my hand, painting my mum's nails. I was never masculine, but I never felt like I was being forced to be a boy. So I never felt super uncomfortable being a boy because I was allowed to express my femininity.
So your parents were very...
Yeah, my mum, my sister, my grandma, my cousins, I was just allowed to be who I was, and I wasn't judged or shamed
Which
for
is
it.
so amazing, isn't it?
Because always been like...
She's all, I mean,
so
this is going back to the 90s as well.
Yeah, that's a really...
So to have that, I never felt like, I need to be a girl to be able to do this. And it was never pushed on me or anything. It's only when I got to my teen years, like 13, 14, when puberty kicked in and my body started to change, that's when I was like, this is not, like, I didn't like it. Like, the voice started dropping, hair started coming in, like I was growing taller. Yeah. And that all felt so uncomfortable to me. Like, so it felt like I was in someone else's body, in like another skin.
If you see the photos of her when she was a child, I know we're all small as a child, but you were tiny.
Yeah.
And then
I just seemed to shoot up and develop this deep voice. Obviously, like I've worked on that over time with like voice training, but all of that felt so wrong. But even then, my knowledge of transgenderness was still so limited. I don't remember learning about transness at school.
No.
Not really.
No.
I don't remember seeing much good representation on TV. I think Nadia was on Big Brother. I vaguely remember that. But
there's someone in Ugly Betty.
Yeah, but that was played by a biological woman, which I knew at the time. So there wasn't a lot of there. It's only when I found an article about a singer called Kim Petras, who's a German singer. She was, it was a terrible name, I'm not going to say it, but it was like her boy name to Kim. And it was talking about how she was transitioning. I was like, oh my gosh, this can happen.
Yeah.
This is the thing. So about 14, 15, I started seeing a counsellor through CAMS in the UK. I was on the track to hormone blockers. And then just through me feeling stressed and panicked and overwhelmed, I was already getting bullied at school. Family, I feel like I don't want to like dump on my family because they've always supported me, but they've always cared about my safety.
Yes.
And I could feel that they didn't want me to do it because of safety. I lived in a rural village in Yorkshire. So that was also like a burden there. And I just got through.
Do you mean social safety, or do you mean actually safety about going through that biological shift?
It was social safety.
Yeah, right.
It was that 100%. Like walking down the street as a visible trans person back in 2007-8.
Yeah.
I could feel there was an uncomfortability there. So that all paired together, I just pulled back and I just buried deep. And I thought, no, it was just a phase. I'll be fine. Turns out
how old are you now? How old are you now when you're kind of burying it?
So it got to 27. So I buried it for from age 14 to age 27. fell in love with dancing and put all my energy into my career, and I found some joy there, and then had relationships, lived in different places around the world and cruise ships. And it's only when I met the love of my life, which is this very handsome man. So I had this great man and I loved him. I had this great job living in Greece, dancing, doing my dream job.
Because we were in Greece for 6 months together.
It was amazing. It was a dream. Like, everything was perfect. I should have been happy and I wasn't. It's like I was living someone else's life. And I literally woke up one morning. I don't know what happened in my sleep, but I woke up one morning and I was like, I'm trans. This is who I am. I have to transition.
Really? So it was like
a switch overnight. I don't know what it was. I think I was just so sick of trying to pretend.
Well, that's that kind of level, what I find when I'm working with individuals, I think it's just that constant level of suppression.
Yeah.
You think that you're okay and you're masking and you've got it, but actually fundamentally there's incongruence, there.
100%.
And you're not, how can if your inner world and your outer world are not matching?
Yeah.
Like, that's really difficult in whatever area,
in whatever context,
in whatever context.
It just sort of burst out of me.
Did it?
And I was like, we're living in a better time now, a safer time. I've done the dancing. I've had my career, because I knew that if I ever transitioned, I'd never be a dancer, because I'm tall and broad, so it was never going to happen as a female dancer. So I made the sacrifices, and then I was like, I have to do this now. He loves my femininity. Hopefully he'll accept me. So I told my best friend. She was super supportive. She made a joke because she has fake boobs, and she was like, we can have fake boobs together. And I was like, well, here we are. And then I came out to you. I'll let you tell the story of me coming out to you.
Liam, how,
So we were in Greece. I was making us a couple of sandwiches. I've told this story like a million times.
Okay.
But it's just
my favourite story.
Yeah, go on. So you were making some sandwiches. I love it.
We literally, we lived in a little mini apartment, but we couldn't cook. It was like a hotel, but a mini
like
apartment.
A studio.
Basically, yeah. So we lived off like crisp sandwiches and cheese sandwiches and ham.
Super healthy dancer
super
lifestyle.
Healthy. So I was making the sandwiches and that, and I just finished making them, cutting them up, and I was walking towards the bed to give her them, and she just literally, when someone says they drop that bomb on you, like she did that, she was like
full mic drop.
I think, babe, I think I'm trans. I need to tell you something first. And obviously I'm like,
so you're just making sandwiches?
Yeah.
I'd been trying to get this out for a couple of days. I'd really when I had that wake up realization moment, to this day, time had passed.
Yeah.
I was really mulling it over and thinking on it. And I thought, oh, you're just jumping into it. Don't tell him. Because I was like, but Alexis is, well, not Alexis, but
we hadn't come up with a name yet.
This has been in your life for 12, 13 years. It's not going away. I just told you.
Yeah, so she dropped the bomb, and I was like, oh, it was a shock. Like, internally, it was like, I don't think I gave her the visualization that I was in as much of a shock as I was, but I was internally. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
But the first thing I was thinking is, because I was so in love with this person, and obviously, like she said, found the love of our life and stuff, and I knew that in my head I'd already preconceived my whole life ahead.
Yeah.
And I knew, and we'd got drunk at New Year's Eve a few months prior to this, and I'd said to her when I was drunk, I'm going to marry you. Do you know what I mean? So all these things, like, and in that moment,
you were committed.
I
knew
we were going to get married. On the second date.
Yeah. Like, we just knew. So when she told me that, the first thing that I thought of after the initial internal shock was, how do we make this happen? What do we need to do then?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Because I love you that much that
there was just no hesitation.
That's the first thing he said.
Yeah.
He just said, how do we make this happen then? With no judgment, no anger, no fear. And I've never felt as seen ever.
Accepted, seen, safe.
And I'm not saying that that's the case for everyone, because it's not going to be.
Well, I wish it was.
But to have that, like, I didn't, even at that time, I'd accepted this is something I had to do. It's something I didn't want to do. It's something that I was dreading doing financially, mentally, emotionally, societally. I didn't want to transition. I didn't want to be trans. So to have someone just not have that, like, it made me fall in love with me even more.
There was no knee-jerk reaction, basically. Like, some people have, like, a bit of, but they weren't. But at the same time, I put all her feelings first in that moment anyway,
100%.
right? At the time, I was suffering from severe anxiety.
Yeah.
I had, I'd recently injured my back. Was it? Yeah. Because I've got a bad back. I've had it for years, but I recently re-injured my back again in Greece. I fell off this thing.
God.
So
he jumped off an inflatable in the sea. I'll tell the story. He hurt his back.
Yeah, so I hurt my back. So I had a lot of mental health issues going on. And I also had like a serious sinus infection, which when I came back back to the UK, I got surgery and basically it fixed all my issues.
Which cleared up a lot of his anxiety.
Because I had...
Did it?
I had an infection that was basically leaking into my bloodstream and getting to my brain. So it was giving me like severe brain fog.
Right.
So I had all that to deal with and obviously anxiety. And so, but in that moment, I was like, let's focus on Alexis. I need to get her to be happy and better first before I focus on me.
Thank you.
Obviously later down the line, we had some, there were tough times, there was emotional times.
Yes.
There was good and bad and all the things in between, but it wasn't perfect.
We were both dealing with our own stuff together.
Yeah.
He was dealing with his sinus thing, his anxiety, his back. I was dealing with the gender dysphoria, the trans thing. But we helped each other. He'd have a bad day, I'd have a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
That brought us so close, I think, in the long run.
Yes, absolutely.
Every other day, I mean, in Greece, again, it was our paradise. The sea was there. We had a pool outside our door. It was beautiful. But one day I'd be up on the seesaw, up here, upset, crying, angry, upset, and then we'd switch.
Yeah.
But we constantly compromised, didn't we?
Yeah, 100%.
What were your, I suppose, immediate worries or concerns about, how is this going to change us as a dynamic, and how might this also change how we're perceived in community? Because here we are in, gay community, I suppose, to a certain extent, and now that's going to shift.
We were two gay men.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
No.
It's the reality.
It's
the first thing that Alexis did. She wanted everything done tomorrow.
Oh, I did.
She
I
wanted
had no patience.
Everything. No patience, right? You just so as soon as you decided,
patience, zero.
Because the thing is, for me, I think that's how you see it, but for me, I knew deep down for 12, 13 years.
Yeah,
and I was hoping in the back of my head for all of that time, and then now I suddenly accepted this is going to happen.
Yeah,
it all just came flooding out.
It did. She was in shower within an hour, shaving every aspect of her body because, again, stereotypically, she didn't want the beard, didn't want the leg hair, and she cut herself to pieces. And then I'm in shower, sat on floor, finishing it off.
I'll tell the story because it's much sweeter than that.
Is it? All right,
yeah. Okay. So I'd been in the shower for 2 hours shaving. I'd never shaved my whole body before. He was like, "Babe, what are you doing?" And he opened the door. I was blood everywhere. It looked like a massacre in there because I had no idea what I was doing. And then he sat on the bathroom floor for 2 hours and shaved my entire body.
Oh.
That's the
real man. Honestly, it makes me, when I talk to you on the phone, when I spoke to you beforehand, and when you honestly brought me to tears. And some of my clients, that happens, because you just really it's making me emotional now because it's such an amazing thing to be accepted to that level. And that's all that any of us can ever hope for. That's all. And I suppose for me in my work, that's what I'm trying to get everybody to accept themselves, to accept others, to accept and to live ultimately, in peace, love and harmony. What does it...
100%.
But and that's such a beautiful story of that,
It, honestly, it's one of my favourite moments, looking back on it, feeling at my most vulnerable in my life and having someone being there, protect me from myself and from others around me. I don't know. I'll never forget that.
It was an amazing moment. Also crazy, exciting, worrying. There was all of the emotions. But so set the scene. She's told me she's trans.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with all that. But she's then still got to go to work 5 days a week.
Yes.
8 to 10 hours a day. What's it called where you
rehearsals
and then straight into a
shows,
show.
Yeah.
So she some days she'd leave me at 9 a.m. And
just with your thoughts.
On his own in a room
come back till 11 p.m.
Not ideal. Apologies.
So I'm in a foreign country on my own, 13 hours on some days. I'm on my own. Yeah, I've got a pool, I've got a beach, and it's beautiful. But when you see it every day, it's not masking. So I had a lot of obviously anxiety anyway. So I was thinking of stuff. But I rang my mum straight away. First person I rang with my mum, and I'm like. Because you do, and I'm crying on that phone. She's like, "Oh my God, what's up?" And I'm like, Alexis is trans, and my mum's always been chill. My mum's just not bothered. Do you know what I mean? So she was like, "Oh, what do we call her then?" And And then I rang my best friend Beth, and I told her, and same. She's like, "Cool, what do we call her?" And I rang Nathan, and everyone. Our friend group is very much locked into all LGBT kind of stuff anyway. So we didn't expect any pushback from any friends.
Yeah.
So once they were all in and locked in, and that I felt a bit better. But it was tough to deal with when Alexis, I was on my own with my thoughts all day long, constantly worrying about the next thing. And even though I'm accepting of her being trans, even though friends are accepting, obviously, whatnot, it was how's the world going to now accept it?
Yeah.
Yes.
When we're walking in to a club, you know, at the time, and what we call a very visible looking trans person, because, you know, depending on how you see trans people, whether you think femininity, masculinity is important to identify people or genders, people's gender, Alexis and myself were very worried about when people...
Well, I wasn't going to pass straight away. I'd had no surgery. I had masculine bone structure. I was tall. I had a 5 o'clock shadow and big hands and feet. Like, I knew that when I first put on the wig and the makeup, I would be clockable.
The Albert, nicknamed the Albert.
Yeah, my wig was called Albert. I don't know why. But I knew that I was going to be super visible. And it's how do we navigate that in a safe way? And I know we shouldn't have to think about it, but you do. Like, I wouldn't walk anywhere on my own at night. 100%. But then I had the privilege of being able to not put the makeup on and put a hoodie on and being safe. That privilege is now gone.
Yes.
Now I'm transitioned.
Yes.
But at the start of my transition, I could use the male privilege that I was born with. And I did it in occasion. If I needed to pop to the shop at night on my own, I'm not going to go in a wig and makeup. I'm not going to risk anything like that. So it's navigating that. But he was always there to fight my battles for me.
But when you were talking about, obviously, you know, being left to your own thoughts, what were the kind of, you know, what was coming up for you? I suppose both in terms of, how this might shift the dynamic, and if it would, you know, maybe that wasn't even on your mind.
I think for me there was a worry about, because I had bad anxiety anyway, so I was always questioning things about myself. I was always worried about things that weren't necessarily going to happen. Like I was a point where I wasn't even driving a motorway because I was so full of anxiety that I might have an accident, even though I've been driving for 20 years. So I was questioning myself, where I was like, is this the right thing to do? Do I actually want to, you know, continue my life?
For this,
I've envisioned marrying effectively my husband. I've seen my life ahead, and I've finally found the person that I love. And every person I've ever been with prior, me and my best friend have always had this running joke where there's always a catch. You know, that you meet someone, they're amazing, and then 3 months out line, there's a catch. And then ADHD, usually that catch is enough for me to go walking. Yeah. So obviously when I met Alexis, and 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months later, my best friend's like, he's perfect. You know, oh my God, I can't believe it. You finally found one that's got no catch. And then obviously Alexis came out and then...
dropped the biggest catch
my best
ever.
friend was like, I knew there was something. But it was fine. But there was a lot of worry about, am I going to feel the same? You know?
Yeah, I was the same. I was thinking the same.
Still find her attractive?
Yeah.
And again, obviously, in the bedroom and stuff like that, there was always that aspect as well. The physicality of it. But it never really came to be. It never really.
But do you feel, and what's that about, you know, because obviously, again, is it as simplistic as like, love is love, and you accept and you adapt, and you at the end of the day, if you're open and curious to that,
I think
I can't answer that. It's more of a you question, that one. If
you look at the mean average of the people I've dated, the people I've slept with, the people I've interacted with,
who are these people? Where do they live?
According to Alexis, I was a virgin when I met her.
He was.
But the people that I've slept with, the people that I've been with and interwoven with in society, there's always been this running mean average of femininity.
Yes.
So that's been clearly something I've been attracted to. I have dated men, I have dated women. I have labelled myself as bisexual at one point. And then I kind of was like, you know what, I'm actually gay.
Yeah.
But I think for me and our relationship, because of that femininity, because that has never changed, whether she was male or female, her personality has never changed.
Yes.
That's made the transition easier because there hasn't been this massive shift. Whereas some couples who, you know, from maybe the woman's side, whose their husbands come out as trans and they want to change to female.
So a masculine husband turning into a feminine wife is a big jump.
So I think that would be more... That might be more of a struggle for some couples.
Absolutely, in terms of the acceptance and the change.
Because that is a full shift, physical and personality. Whereas I mean, again, Alexis's personality, that hasn't changed. I mean, she's become a little bit more annoying.
I'm what? So an idiot. Do you know what though? When I came out to him, I think I knew he was going to accept me. I think just a very small part of me was like, what if he can't handle it or we can't make it through?
Yeah.
And there's like, that's any relationship. We all have our fears and worries.
It's not exclusive to being trans.
No,
I mean,
it's what if something comes along and there's a bump in the road and it breaks us, and it didn't. I think if anything, it made us stronger.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's always that, I know in my own personal experience, not being able to have children, having that conversation is really tough.
Yeah.
You know, has been
How have you sort of navigated that?
Pardon?
How did you navigate that?
With trepidation, I suppose, because, and like how
another big word there.
yeah, get it down. Get it down.
Infinity Stones.
Yeah, it's again. Are you going to be accepted? And very negative feelings about your own body and your own capability. And I'm not a proper woman, and I can't do the thing. And so it's.
You are a proper woman.
Thanks, Liam.
You're an amazing woman.
Thank you. So we've talked a little bit about kind of early awareness, and we've talked about like how you both feeling during the journey.
Yeah.
I suppose tell me, you've talked about lots of bumps in the road.
Yeah.
Tell me about those bumps, so here you are, you've decided you're going for it.
Yeah.
What's the actual process and what's happening to both of you in that reality,
It's hard. It's really so I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to transition.
And expensive.
Yeah.
He said, let's ring the doctors. That's the best thing you need
Get
to
it
do.
on paper. How much?
Ring the GP. So I did that. They said, we've referred you to the gender clinic, our local gender clinic. I rang the gender clinic and I was told 5 to 6 year wait. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't wait.
Yes.
That is generally
That's
even
low
a little
now.
bit lower.
That's low now.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
And I'm done. So I'm going to have a very exciting first appointment. I mean, I'm not blaming the doctors, the nurses, the gender clinicians. It's all to do with underfunding.
Yeah, underfunding, COVID, everything.
So having to figure
it,
that out, like, okay, I need to transition safely. I wasn't going to do it with buying things online because you can buy them online, but I didn't know what I was getting there. So I wanted to do it safe. So I went through the private route, which can be expensive. We had savings. There's this misconception sometimes on social media because we put our story out there that people think social media paid for my transition. It did not.
Yeah, right.
It was very much me. It was very much Liam helped out and my mum helped out and bank loans and credit cards and however I needed to do it.
There was a lot of, the earlier on, there was a lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Whatever I needed to do, like it's what I needed to do. So like
I've never heard that phrase.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Do you want to knock that one down?
I'm literally going.
I love this word sharing. It's great.
So it was finding that private clinic, getting the diagnosis, going through like the psychiatric appointments and getting all of that part done to get the diagnosis of gender dysphoria, get it on paper, and then deed poll, change name, bank, everything, like figure out a name, which actually Liam helped me figure out. It was a whole process just to get the legal side done. And then even then, once the legal side was done, I was still tentative to start presenting. Because I just didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to stand out for that reason. I wanted to blend in. So it took me a while, and with a lot of encouragement from Liam to just go out and just do it and just put the hair on, put the heels on and feel good. And
because she always wore makeup as a man before. She always wore makeup, eyeshadow, glam.
Even that was hard. That was nerve-wracking to do, but
I used to say, do it. I challenged the person that challenges us if you wear makeup. I used to kind of, in a way, I kind of wanted people to. I like pushing boundaries. So I was like, just get that wig on. Let's go out and do it. You know what I mean? We went to Leeds, I think, for the first time.
And and I felt great. But the biggest bump, I think, was when I realized how much this was going to cost.
Right.
The figure of this surgery and that surgery and that surgery. And when I added it all up, it was like that's impossible. I am not qualified to do a good job at this current time. I was working packing parcels because I just finished this dance career. I was not qualified for anything else.
It was a big shift.
So
and you were working nights as well.
Were you?
All night.
So,
what was I doing? I was doing
working care.
I was a support worker.
Yeah.
I was doing 15-hour day shifts as well.
So it was patching together what money we could. My first surgery was my hair transplant, as an example. I was packing parcels, Liam was working in care. I had some savings to pay for a third of it. Liam paid for a third of it and my mum paid for a third of it. So don't get me wrong, I know that's privilege in itself, having that support there. But, well, we could say it's privilege. Some people don't have that.
Yeah, I suppose the word privilege is...
Yeah.
Because sometimes because the thing is, a lot of people on social media, they use that word against Alexis when they try to say that she was giving everything. And, what's that saying?
Handed it on a plate.
Which was never the case.
From a very working class background.
Yeah, and I when I grew up, single mum with 3 kids on benefits. Do you know what I mean? So we're not from a silver spoon privilege background.
No,
so
you've worked hard.
We have worked.
You've worked hard and you've made difficult decisions. And that's
what parents wouldn't support their children. When we have kids, I'm going to help my kid pay for their first car, go off to uni. To have the help of your parents, if they can, I think it's a beautiful.
No, 100%.
Kind of
but it was figuring it out and knowing what surgeries I needed, doing the research. It's like, okay, I need this list of surgeries for my gender dysphoria to ease and for me to potentially blend into society in like a womanly role. That was the plan, but getting there, it was going to take years and years, and the impatience, having to wait for it, having to have 20 sessions of laser on my face just to get rid of the beard, and then 15 hours of electrology, which is so painful. Full body laser, top to bottom, retraining my voice, nails, makeup, hair, clothes. The cost of it all.
Nails, hair, hips, heels.
If I had to put like a number on it, I know you didn't ask, but I don't mind sharing.
Yeah, no, share. I was going to ask, but
ask away.
In total, to
become Alexis,
70,000-80,000.
Yeah, I would imagine. I would imagine
when you do the clothes and the hair and everything and redoing all of that start. Yeah.
But how do you feel?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Life's amazing.
And do you feel, I mean,
everything clicked. It's like the piece of the puzzle was put in. It's like I was never happy before because I was always, this is the best way I can describe it. I always felt like I was wearing a Halloween costume. I always felt like I was wearing a mask. And it wasn't actually me. There was this weird disconnect between me and the world, my friends, my family, my loved ones. I could never fully reach out and touch people because I was always pretending. Once I ripped that mask off and just let myself be Alexis and let myself feel how I needed to feel and live how I wanted to live, everything's more joyful. Going to Tesco to do a food shop is more joyful. Like everything is just so much better.
Well, when I saw how joyful her surgeries made her, I had a few bits done myself. So I had a hair transplant.
Did you?
Yeah.
You were like, I want some of this.
I finally finished all the surgeries. It's like, right,
give me some of that right now. Yeah. For me, like my hair was my hairline was so receded. It was so bad. And I wore my hair down. But if the wind blew,
we didn't like that.
Always revealed.
Yeah.
So when I saw Alexis get her hair transplant, even then I was still like, I don't know if I can do that. But over time, it was something niggling at me all the time. But once we'd kind of finished with what Alexis wanted to do, I was like, I kind of think I want one now. And then you were like, well, we'll do it. We'll make it work.
Figure out. I could not say to him, no. After I've had like 12 procedures in total, I'm like, you're not doing that. Absolutely not.
So I got my hair transplant, and then I had my teeth done. I spent 2 years getting my teeth straightened because my teeth, when we first met, I had clip-ins.
Clip-in teeth.
Did you?
I spent $1,000 on these. They were very good.
Yeah.
But I spent $1,000 on these clip-ins because I had loads of money in COVID because I was furloughed, not to spend it on. I bought these bloody teeth. And they were fab, weren't they? They were fab at the time.
Dentures. Clip-in dentures.
Honestly, I like bloody donkey at Shrek. But after I had my hair, when I had my teeth straightened for 2 years with Invisalign kind of thing, and then I had composite bond done. But I feel
the confidence, like
so much better now.
I believe in investing in ourselves if you can, and like. I'm not an advocate for plastic surgery or advocate for these things, but if you have something with your body that makes you feel uncomfortable or incongruent or like dysphoric in any way, fix it.
I totally agree. I mean, I said to you, didn't I, before we started filming, I had boob reduction.
Yeah.
I waited 15 years to do that. It was literally the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, all that time,
and again, generally, because it was kind of like, but that's what a woman has. Like that's, and it's like, but it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. I like,
Yeah.
So do you feel like you're there? Have you got to the place that you want to? Or is there this kind of like what?
Well, she keeps mentioning a facelift. I went, you can leave it a little bit longer.
I'm joking.
She is joking, but she has mentioned it.
So in regards to
Not yet. Maybe in 10 years.
In regards to transition, I'm done.
Yes,
I've done every procedure I want to do. I've done all the documents when I'm legally, like I have my gender recognition certificate, so I'm legally recognised as a woman, which was wild and hard to get. So I can just live. And it was the weirdest realisation once I got that. Because the last thing I think that to do was get the gender recognition certificate. It was very validating. And I didn't expect it to be so validating.
I bet it was a really it was so much.
Oh my God, I cried. I cried so much because I got it in time for our wedding.
Did you?
So it meant that I was legally getting married as a woman. And that I never thought, like the little boy growing up, and I used to draw wedding dresses, and I was like, oh, I would love to wear these dresses one day. That would be amazing. But I was like, that's never going to happen. I'm a boy. And then growing up and finding this man who accepts me and being a bride, and I had 2 wedding dresses because I wanted to, and doing that all as legally as Alexis, as a woman, it was like the biggest dream come true that day.
It's so beautiful. I suppose one of the things that I wanted to kind of touch on, which is always the difficult bit. Yeah. Oh, so you're emotional with that. No, I get of course. Is that, it's obviously been a difficult journey. You've got there. It's worked out. It's beautiful. It's all encompassing. I think one of the things I wanted maybe like viewers to understand as well is just about what the grief that might come with it, and sometimes also the pressure to kind of cope well. And particularly I mean again, and I'm just sort of assuming this, so it might be wrong, but like once you've told community, you've told friends, you've told your family, you've then got to be the strong one,
He was.
But like,
that was him. That was always him. Like I don't give him enough credit. I really don't. And I know like the cameras are on and I'm saying all the right things at the right time, but genuinely I don't give this man enough credit for I don't think I could have transitioned without him.
Really?
And I know that's like probably taking something away from me. I have a lot of strength now, but if you'd have met me 4 or 5 years ago, I was not strong in the way that I am now. I didn't have that bravery to stand up and be myself unapologetically. Yeah. He was always there behind me, holding me up in the light. Yeah. So that was you. That was all you. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. She wouldn't even if she was trying to look for something in the shop, she wouldn't even ask the shop assistant. That, you know what I mean? Like compared to, she could stand on stage and dance.
What is it? That was different. What is? I'm just so interested, Liam. Because again, when I work with couples, it's like that's another word here for you. That's symbiotic.
Oh, good.
This symbiosis. That sort of beautiful thing that is like, I'll hold you, you hold me. Yeah. And we've got that. What is it about you that's like, as you said, Alexis is like, I couldn't have done it without you. And I think in couples, there's so many things that we can't do without the other. We need the support. We need to be seen, don't we?
Yeah.
What is it in you that's been such a backbone, I suppose, of the two of you?
So I don't take no shit from anybody anymore. I used to do.
Can we swear?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I've been holding off swearing so much.
Shit.
Liam.
Yeah, so I don't take no shit now. I was severely bullied as a kid. My entire life, no matter how far back you go on photographs of me, I was severely overweight, very overweight. So I was bullied my entire childhood, and I was told I wasn't good enough. I'll never find love. I'm this, I'm that, and now I don't ever want anyone else to feel that way. So when Alexis came out and transitioning and all that kind of stuff, like I always kind of, sometimes annoyingly so, but I pushed her in a good way, before the transition. I used to push him. I'd like, go and ask that thing. Go and do that thing.
Okay, so it's like this inner strength.
Don't ever let anyone tell you can't do something, because I had that, and I know the severe trauma that I went through and the effect that even to this day it still has on me.
Give me them names, them bullies. I'll find them now.
Half of them follow us now anyway, so.
Love that.
But, so I in a way, I'm like, I used to kind of push that onto her and to him prior to transition, because I didn't want them to feel they can't do something. Because nobody, no matter, in 5 years' time, those people are not going to mean anything to you anyway.
Yeah.
You're never going to see them again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. So that I think that's what a lot of it was, is supporting her and pushing her confidence to be higher, because I know what it feels like to be suppressed in all kind of aspects.
But internally, was there any element where you were kind of like the pressure, I suppose, of that, like, I've got to be the backbone and I've got to... Was that difficult? Did that ever feel
I can imagine
isolating, or like, you know, I can't, like, how much of that conversation can I have to Alexis when actually Alexis is going through so much of her own struggle?
I had the conversation with my mum. I had the conversation with my friends.
So you had support,
I didn't want to put that on her.
No.
We did eventually start, like, not at the very start, but it was hard.
We had debriefs, didn't we?
We had debriefs. We always have a debrief. If we're ever going through something, like, individually, we'll come together and we'll sit and we'll talk it through, and we'll write things down, and we'll create spider diagrams and plan them.
We've done all that.
Have you?
For us,
It's something I learned in therapy a long time ago.
Yes.
And it's a great tool. And he was having a really bad time with something. And I just said, right, let's just pause everything. Let's clear the noise. Let's write the main thing in the middle where we are. And what are these things? And how can we tackle these small little pockets individually?
It was always like, she used to always help me put things into realistic worries. And then unrealistic worries.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So things that could happen, things that can't. And if I had 30 things that I was worrying about, once we'd sat down, done diagrams and drawn,
you're just actually like, that's
three things that were
I do that with
realistic,
clients.
and the other 27 of them were not realistic. So that was what we did.
We did have conversations where Liam would say, a photo came up today on Facebook of him, and I do miss him, and that. Like,
and that's the kind of grief element,
it was
isn't
like,
it?
Like for me, obviously, I know I'll let you explain how it was for you, but for me, it was a little bit hard to hear, because I felt like I'd taken that away from him. I feel like I'd taken a life away from him. He'd planned this life with his husband, and I stopped that happening. So I did feel guilt for that.
The only way to describe it, and some people take it in a negative way, some people take it in a positive way, but we're not pushing how we feel as the right way, because there is no right way. There is no right or wrong way to all of these feelings. Feelings are feelings, right? And for me, in the way we've described it, or certainly how I described it, is when I see a photo of old Alexis, it's like you're looking at a relative or a loved one that has passed away. You get that's the initial kind of butterfly sometimes that I get when I see that picture. You get that little you know what I mean?
I do that, I think, sometimes.
The way I kind of, again, you know, because I can't have children, I can kind of, there's something about, so like I envisaged a life.
Yeah.
You know, I envisaged a life. It was me, 2 kids, like, you know, by the sea. That was the life. And what I was grieving is kind of the life that I thought I was going to have, which, you know, you imagined. But there's something really, I think, cathartic and beautiful in being able to say, you know, it was just a narrative. It was a script that I told myself. It was an imagined life, and accepting that this is the reality and that this is okay, and it's no less valuable and even more beautiful, perhaps, you know,
100%.
as well. So, but I really do understand. It's the only way I can kind of connect with you.
But that makes sense.
Being able to like understand, because I used to cry so often, but the crying was like, I never had it. Anyway, it was just it was just
something you've never had.
Totally.
I think you can. I was, because I have, we knew I had ADHD. All my friends and my family.
Oh my gosh, wild ADHD, wild.
Always have joked. I've got a little bit. I'm a bit spicy.
A bit spicy, a bit fizzy. I always say fizzy in therapy.
Fizzy. Yeah. Or I used to get. It's a bit neuro spicy. A bit. You know. And anyway, I got diagnosed, and that. So now we know, and we know that I have it. But for me, the visualization, I almost like I have to make it a reality. So when I want something, I want it. I'm an adult. I go get it. I get that dopamine hit. So when I was obviously envisioning our life together, and it's almost like I need that. And then obviously that, how I thought it was going to turn out, it didn't. It just turned out in a different way.
Yeah.
It made the kind of grief a little bit harder, because it was something I actually, Liam, you can't have that.
Yes,
and even though being a kid, of course, I was told no with certain aspects. But once I hit that aspect of being an adult, I'm like, I can get what I want now. But this was one thing, actually, Liam, you can't have.
Control it.
And looking at photographs, like I said, get that grief feeling sometimes. But the biggest gut feeling for me, the biggest kind of, oh my God, was Alexis did this beautiful post, actually. It was this this like AI trend. Where whether you think good or bad about AI, it was just this thing that was trending at the moment. It was where you hug your former self, your younger self.
Yes.
Yeah, and the AI turned.
You put 2 pictures in and it makes them hug.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And obviously, so Alexis put old self, new self, but she didn't tell me that she'd done this.
I just didn't think. I posted it on social media.
She don't need to pass things by me.
No, but I should have been more sensitive.
And I remember just being sat, I think I was at work or something, and I just like doing it came up. And then all of a sudden, yes, I saw pictures of old Alexis all the time, but one thing I certainly haven't seen of Alexis since she transitioned is physical moving old self.
Yes.
And even though it's AI, let me tell you, it looked damn real.
Did it?
Yeah. And then I saw this video of my old love and my new love, and I can't explain to you, but that hit me because it was so raw, and I was like, oh my God. And obviously it was a beautiful post in itself. I mean, the post went mega viral, and it was beautiful because nobody had seemingly done it either. But my God, that was like, and I kept watching it. And even though it was like, it was gut-wrenchingly upsetting, it was also beautiful,
like
and it was
sort
happy,
of reaching
and it was
for
sad. And I kept watching it, and I was getting like a good, what am I trying to say? It was like bringing back the old person for a little bit. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like. I'm like, I'm getting to see him again a little bit. But then obviously new Alexis is there. But I kept watching it, and I kept watching it. And I said to you, didn't I? Yeah. And I did bring it up I brought it up quite a few times to Alexis after the fact. And then obviously we had a conversation about it later on because she was like, you brought it up quite a few times now. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it hurt.
Yeah,
it hurt
I totally get that.
And it must, and I suppose, and whilst it sounds like it was soothing to some extent for you, something like that, it must have also been slightly difficult for you as well, because it's
a weird one because
it is weird.
It's like it is me, you know, it's me and I love me.
It's different though. Like some trans people, like it's their dead name, they don't want nothing to do with that name. They burn the pictures. They don't for me,
which is fine.
That's everyone's
transitions.
For me, like I was never angry at him. I never hated him. Because he gave me the strength to be me. So without him, I wouldn't have survived. That was the point of your post, wasn't it? I wouldn't have survived. He gave me my career. He found Liam. Like, I know it's weird talking about myself in third person, but it's the only way I can do it. Yeah. But I don't have any hatred towards him, and the name, it doesn't bother me. Like, it's just who I was for 27 years.
I think that's a really gorgeous way to look at it as well. As you've just said,
it's just a chapter in my life.
He gave me you, and this was and how would it have been maybe otherwise, you know? So everything happens for a reason. So one of the things I'm quite interested about, obviously, because I'm a psychosexual relationship therapist, and therapy for me is so important in going through this journey, is what is the therapeutic process that you went through, either individually or as a couple, or both?
Very limited. I'll be honest. I'm going to be completely honest. I did it all privately. I didn't have the money. Unfortunately, with the NHS, you do go through a lot of therapy and counselling. I did it when I was younger. I did a little bit of it at the start of my transition when I was getting my diagnosis and everything, but I 100% should have done more to deal with it because he was my therapist for a lot of it. But it's not great, I know, and that support, that impartial support. And I've had therapy when I was younger over different things. I struggled with an eating disorder when I was a teenager. And therapy helped so much. So I know the value there, just the time in my life and the way that I just couldn't do it.
So we haven't had couple therapy, but
no, not yet.
Not that I know of. But when I was having my severe anxiety and mental health issues and whatnot, I had CBT.
Yes.
So I had I think it's counselling, but I used to meet with a lovely lady every 2 weeks in a room, and we'd talk for 45 minutes to an hour, and I let it all loose there, and then she'd send me away with, I suppose, homework. And I was doing laying on the floor, doing breathing exercises, listening to meditation and stuff like that. And everything I did with her, and that helped me with my anxiety. So the value of therapy for me, it's there. But you've got to kind of, like, from my experience, you had to let it in. Because at first I thought, I feel like a right idiot. I'm doing all this mumbo-jumbo stuff. But actually, once I got into it, I was willing at the time to do anything that made me feel better.
And your anxiety was so bad. Like,
it was
from an outside
bad.
perspective, CBT changed your life. I know you might not feel like that, but looking at who you were when you started it and then all the things you continue to do and we continue to do over time, like, the anxiety is not gone, but completely different. It ruled your life at one point.
It did. Like, it ruled my entire life. Every heartbeat, my heart did was controlled by anxiety. Like, it was, I'd lay in bed at night and my heart would be stopping for 6-7 seconds at a time.
So
pure anxiety, just, it was terrible.
Overwhelming.
It was the worst. Honestly, I kept saying to you, didn't I? I'd rather have a disease. I'd rather have had something physically wrong with me that could be at least, we know what it is, let's get this cured. But with anxiety, I know I needed to fix the root cause, you know, and explore my traumas. Yeah. And because, like, you know, the whole she came out being trans, it just came out, didn't it? Yeah. Mine was bubbling. Yeah. You know, bubbling. My trauma was just, it needed to come out.
And I suppose there was something as well about perhaps, you know, Alexis coming out as well. You know, it triggers all sorts of things, doesn't it?
It was just another thing. You know what I mean? It was another thing on the top of all the other things.
Yeah. I should have definitely, I wish, like, looking back, if there's something I would change, is having that support in the start of my transition. But I did have it when I was younger, when I was a teenager, like, through my eating issues, and then through when I was almost transitioned when I was 15. Having someone go through that helped a lot. Yes. But it's just access to care is just not always there, unfortunately.
It really, really isn't. I mean, I used to, you know, work for the NHS, and obviously, you know, it's extremely limited. Yeah. And there's just, the funding isn't there, and we need to do better, you know, but that's, hopefully over time that's going to shift for sure.
Geolocation can change the type of access that you have to certain care as well, you know.
Absolutely.
Like, you might live in a catchment area where actually
it's better
you can't
than
get
others,
it there, or it's better, or it's better.
It's the same with me with my IVF. You can't have it there, but you can have it there. You know,
and some people, like, you know, when early on in your transition, Alexis was looking on, like, Reddit, transgender groups, and there were so many people in there that were like, I've moved to Scotland because it's easier to get this, or I've moved to London, and they've actually sold the house.
You have to become a detective when you transition.
You do.
There's no guidebook, there's no rules, there's no one telling you what to do. You literally have to dig online and figure it all out piece by piece.
Or ask the community, ask other people.
Read this book, or find this post on this forum, or do this. It's insane. Like, it would have been nice to have that guidance from the public health service that we have, just in line with getting that clear diagnosis through them. But it wasn't the way it was meant to be for me.
Yeah.
And we figured it out along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
We wung it.
Yeah.
We did.
Well, always, you know, I'm here if you ever.
If you ever. Before we start having
might ring you up.
When you have marriage, start having marriage issues. You can give me.
What was them long words you used again?
What was those long words?
Trepidation.
Yeah. Trepidation.
Serendipity was one of them.
Yeah,
sounds like
serendipity.
A dinosaur.
One of the conversations, I suppose, that's going on is that there's quite still a lot of negativity. You know, there's still a huge amount of negativity, and I'm just interested. Obviously, look, you don't talk for the trans community. You don't talk for, you know, like, just from an individual perspective. But I'm just interested in both your views about, like, what do we do about that? You know, what's needed and what's going on? You know, why is it still so divisive? And particularly between, you know, obviously cisgender women and trans women. You know, there seems to be this kind of fight going on. How do we close that gap, you know?
I think for me, I don't know if you'll agree, I think a lot of it comes from politics. There's always a minority. That's a nasty minority. Whichever minority it is, happens to be trans people and immigrants at the moment. We're sort of put in that box as seen as the villains. We're causing all these problems, and people focus on that and not the real problems. And then I think with the discourse online, because trans has not really been spoken about ever, it's always been under the carpet, hush, hush, no one speaks about it. Now these conversations are happening online, and we're getting these loud personalities that aren't necessarily a great representation for trans women and trans men. they're creating a bad, in my opinion, a bad representation, which isn't helping the cause. And then I think some of it comes down to like women might, I don't want to say what women are feeling because obviously it's not my place, but possibly as like when it comes to women's space, like public toilets, for instance, I think some women might feel nervous for safety. That's obviously a really key concern, which I do understand because trans women do also have a safety concern. But like I looked into it because I was like, okay, so some women don't want me in the toilets. Why is that? Let's look into that. I always want to like try and see both sides. I was like, what's happened? What are these cases? I can't find them. In the UK, I can't find them. And like,
well, obviously, it doesn't exist.
Like,
it's a non-conversation.
Yeah. So if a man wanted to do something bad to a woman in a toilet, he can just walk in. There's no security. There's no pass you have to swipe, unfortunately. As awful as that is, it's awful. So,
and if he had the decision, do I dress up as a woman, put makeup on,
he's not going to waste that time.
It's just, if he's going to do it, he's going to do it.
I think it comes from fear, a lot of it, and misunderstanding each other.
I think that's exactly it. You know, from my experience, and the statistics for women, with sexual abuse, sexual assault, is still 1 in 3, and it's rising. It's going up and up and up. It's not going down.
Disgusting.
I think, as you talked a little bit about privilege earlier on, I think women, we've been brought up in an environment where you're holding your keys all of the time.
Weirdest thing to learn that.
Bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
And that penises are bad.
Yeah.
And we have to be real about that.
Yeah.
Like, from age 5, age 6, don't show your bits.
Yeah.
If you ever see a penis, you keep away from that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a reality of a kind of a social, cultural, biological script that we've been brought up with.
Well,
and I'm not talking for women. But just trying to imagine what is going on, like what the kind of division is.
Yeah.
And I think it is genuinely as simplistic as like, I've been taught that I need to be vigilant and safe on all counts. And I think, like all of these things, it's driven by fear. And I think we just need to calm the conversation and actually have...
When Alexis, sometimes when she goes out, obviously we both have our own lives.
Yeah.
And it's not often we go out separately where we go out or anything like that. But whenever Alexis goes out, I always pick her up. I always say,
paranoid.
2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. I don't care. I'll come pick you up because I'd rather know that she's safe.
Yeah.
And like with my sister when she was younger, some of my girlfriends, but it's always been, I've always had that kind of, I'd rather know you're safe, but why is that again? Like you said, there's a fear, isn't there?
Not all men, but
not
a
all
lot
men.
of men.
Of course not all men, but always men.
Yeah, unfortunately,
not...
I never dealt with that before, feeling like the concerns of going out. Like I start work really in the morning. I have a big girl job and I start at 6 a.m. So I have to leave my house at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the dark a lot of the time. And I walk out with my keys in between my fingers. Never had that. And I have a boiling hot coffee in my hand ready.
Yeah,
and I love knowing that I've got there because I can just straight away. But I didn't used to think like that. And it's only
you've shifted
completely. Or going like out somewhere like dressed like this with a top on like this on the train on my own, I would feel so uncomfortable. Whereas before I would go anywhere and I wouldn't care because I felt safe. It's a male privilege that I lost, and rightfully so because I transitioned.
Yeah.
But women shouldn't have to feel like that. The nervousness is being scared to go anywhere. But I think ultimately the toilet issue and the space issue, it comes down to possibly just a miscommunication and a misunderstanding of who trans women are in the media, painting us in a terrible light.
And I think it's exactly that. And I think that's why we need to, but there was something that you said earlier as well about, there's certain people as well in media and online that are also driving quite negative
rage-bait content. It's infuriating, and that's the whole reason I kind of started social media by accident, was talking about these people. I'm like, that's not me. That doesn't represent me as a trans woman. That's not me as a trans individual. And I don't want someone.
You mean
to
like the Lily?
Lily Tino, as an example. Like my fear is someone who doesn't know anyone trans comes across someone like that and thinks that all trans people are like that. And don't get me wrong, like it's just my opinion on her. I don't want to spread any hate on her, but it's not a good representation, especially right now when our image is so bad. Any little small bad thing can make it worse. It doesn't help. So
we've obviously, like, for example, we're Latino, though. If you take away the transness of the scenario, the content is rage bait.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, you know, if that person who's creating that rage bait, it doesn't matter what they are, that everyone's going to just start jumping on that and being like, oh.
Yeah, but it's the same for all minorities. When there's a bad person in a minority, all the minorities bad. Then that's
absolutely.
It's just a snowball effect. If you look at two videos, someone rage baiting, or someone not rage baiting, the rage baiting one's got more views, more engagement, more money is involved.
Hatred always wins, unfortunately, on social media.
Yeah. The loudest voices usually
the negativity
get heard the most.
Gets more views, and it's sad, but it's true. We all love a villain.
I do a lot. I do all the background for both our social medias. I run the social media platforms. I do the marketing, all the collaborations, everything. So I'm on social media all the time.
You're very good at it.
I'm very good at it. It's my job. But Twitter and Facebook are, in my opinion, again,
the trolling.
Really
just
wild.
Vile.
Yeah.
And you know, when I'm scrolling and I'm seeing like 7, 8, 10, 9, whatever, million views on this video, and it's actual pure rage bait.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe people are actually commenting on it. And I'm like, you know, this is just to get rage bait.
Oh yeah, it's just to get.
But then that gets shared, and that gets shared.
It works, though.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. I mean, all power to you, because honestly, like I only went onto Instagram like really with trepidation. I see how it is, because again, as a therapist, like I take on all this kind of emotion. Like I just worry how I will respond. You know, like because it's a lot.
I think Instagram out of a lot of them
it's better for sure.
Yeah,
it's better for sure.
I just want to quickly say something going back with the toilet conversation we were having. Obviously, online, quite negative around trans women and toilets and whatnot. But at the start of my transition, I waited 6 months before I was fully present in wig, makeup, clothes, everything like that. But I was still so visibly trans that you could spot me a mile off. You could like where's Wally? You could see me a mile away.
Again, though,
which was fine. It was part of my journey.
Sure.
But what the point I'm trying to make is, when I started going into the female toilets, looking like that, I was terrified, so scared, and I think I only ever had 1 or 2 negative experiences. All the experiences were of love and acceptance. And wow, you look beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love your hair. Where's your dress from? Are you having a nice night? All of this warmth.
It's a minority again, isn't it? It's a minority
all these women being so
women.
kind, and like they could see that I'm so terrified to use that space. So that was, I just want to make sure that's very visible.
Absolutely.
So,
well, we've only got like a tiny bit of time, but last thing I just wanted to finish off
on.
Part
2.
I just wanted to finish off on, you're just doing all these amazing things. You've won an award, you're ambassador for, just tell me about that quickly. So you've got 10 seconds.
Okay, we recently won Gadio Influencer of the Year, which we did not expect to win. We just went for the free meal and drinks, and we won.
Amazing.
Which was unbelievable,
and
honestly.
We are ambassadors for a charity now.
Transmission, which is part of Body Positive. Transpositive, which is part of Body Positive in Cheshire.
Fabulous.
They approached us a few months ago and asked us to be patrons, which was just an absolute honour.
To give something back. We work with a lot of prides every year and businesses. Like, I love it, and if it's some positivity, then that's amazing.
Amazing.
This is one thing we've said this year, is we want to try get more interwoven into the LGBT community, into charities. Like, if we had 10 million followers, the amount of followers that we have in itself isn't what's important to us.
No.
What's important to us is whether we're doing something good with that.
And when you're creating impact,
And so when this year I said to Alexis, I really want us to try and, focus on that. Let's focus on not necessarily growing, but let's just get more interwoven into, where we've come from, give back to the community. So charity work.
Speaking at a lot of prides and things.
Amazing.
So good stuff.
So if you guys are listening, give us a call.
We might see you at a pride.
Amazing. Alexis and Liam, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.